Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Nigerian Space TNS. Today we're going to be talking about investment and career opportunities both home and abroad. I promised you now we'll bring you the connections, we'll bring you the information, and here we are. We have not slacked. Today we have joining us Olushola Amoshon. Thank you so much for honoring our invite. We also have Shoops and we have Constant here today, along with myself, Adiola. How's everyone's week been so far? Oh, I mean,
Good.
how was everyone's week? Not even so far. The week has gone by so fast for me that. But cool, everyone's good, yeah?
Yeah,
Yep, we're
it's
good.
been good. It's been a good week for us.
Sweet, sweet. So I guess I'll just go right in so that we can give Olushola the right amount of time to give us the information that's necessary. Keep your comments and questions coming in as per usual. And I know that we're going to have so much information today. So yeah,
Before before
Olushola,
before you
yeah.
go before you go ahead and throw it to Olushola, I want to just lay a
Mm,
foundation of why we're deciding to do this.
mm-hmm,
Over the If you've been following our show for the past 2 weeks, we've been talking about going back to the roots and investing in Nigeria and all that. And it's been like a discussion for us on the back end where we talk with each other about going back to the roots. And it came up in our discussions that okay, what if you can't even go back to the roots and you're scared about going back to the roots? What can you do in your local wherever you are at right now? If you're in America, if you're in UK, if you're in Ireland, Spain, wherever you are, what opportunities um can you exploit? Not, I don't want to use that word exploit. It sounds bad.
I guess maximize,
Yeah, that's
utilize. Yeah.
yeah, that's better. That's better. So this is what this show is about, and we've known Constant for a while. Is a friend of the of the show, and Constant has decided to bring Olushola on board because Olushola has um he has some knowledge because you can't I wouldn't want to say vast knowledge, but he has some knowledge on investing in diaspora and investing back at home in Nigeria as well. So it's gonna be a lot of Mr. Olushola talking today and giving us insights and nuggets on how we can do stuff back and forth. So that's I just wanted to lay that foundation so everybody listening would know that that's what we're talking about today.
Perfect, perfect. Thanks for that.
So Mr. Olushola, let's go.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity to be here. I find it really exciting to be here. It's an opportunity to be able to rub minds and share. I believe everyone can hear me good.
Hmm.
I was on the show last week, just listening in to be able to follow through with the line of thoughts, and it's inspiring to hear some of those very wonderful thoughts about Nigeria and what we're trying to drive. And I'm hoping that those who are watching us today or who will watch this recorded as well will be able to learn a thing or two as well. And thanks very much, Ships, for saying that I don't have vast knowledge. I mean, I have something to contribute. And I want it to be as the way it was last week. Um, you know, so if there's a point where you think like you need to interrupt me to double click, as we usually say, or deep dive into any particular issue or open a new window or whatever. If you want to say more about something, then I can go more into it. But I want to speak from the heart today because I'm very passionate about Africa and I'm very passionate about the continent. Today, I'm speaking from Dallas, Texas, which has been my home for the past year. And interestingly, so 7 or so months out of the past year has been a very, very shocking pandemic that all of us have experienced. So I'm living in
Uh-huh.
Dallas, a new city at such a unique time, trying to build my own business, And why I think it might be interesting is that I have both. I have very vast knowledge of Nigeria as a country because I
Mm,
spent like the first say 30 years of my life just grinding it from college, running a business from college to getting into corporate Nigeria, and rising to a manager position real quick in a Fortune 500 company, while still, not giving up on my roots. Even in Nigeria, there's the roots in Nigeria as well. I didn't grow up in Lagos, so I was never a Lagos boy. I grew up in Osun State and then went to those states.
That's
And
good.
so
That's what's
getting
up.
into corporate,
I'm from Washington. Very proud.
getting into corporate Nigeria, those of us who are from the roots, there's a way they look at you, there's a way they perceive you. You seem to do just like the way immigrants in the United States feel that they must outdo themselves to be able to get the visibility that is needed. That's the same way those of us who are immigrants in Lagos, have to outdo ourselves. We have to demonstrate that, hey, we know what we're doing, because when they ask you which school did you go to, and you're like Unilorin or Ife, and you didn't say Lag Covenant or you studied abroad, then they start looking at you somehow. You have to deliver. So navigating all of those murky waters has given me the chance to be able to see, both sides of the coin, and also be able to use my street sense to analyze issues. So if you're watching us from diaspora today, there'll be a thing or two to gain. If you're watching from Nigeria as well, there may be a thing or two you might just perceive and be like, hey, what's going on? And I'll start from what one of my mentors said many years ago, that if you really want to, be able to, you need to understand how wealth works, how money itself works.
Yes, please.
all
Tell me how it works. I need to know.
everybody is going all around the streets of Lagos, of Nairobi, of Johannesburg, of Mombasa, just looking for money. But what we've forgotten is that money really goes in the direction of problem solved. So every morning people wake up and they must wear clothes, they must drink water, they must eat food, they must transport themselves from place to place. And the kings of each of these industries I just mentioned for daily livelihood are actually the ones that are making the money. There are a few of us who have chosen our passion over solving those problems. So if you like, I like to sing, that's what I like. Really, it's good that you like to sing, but you have not chosen a part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs that is a necessity. So when Maslow drew his hierarchy of needs, he said food, clothing, shelter, all at that layer. Then he started putting every other thing until self-actualization. Many of us have chosen career paths or investment paths or business paths that are in those higher parts. Now, if you're in a country or a continent that, sadly so, the poverty index is what it is, then you need to focus more on what the masses will be buying. And if you do that, then you will be an Aliko who will sell salt, cement,
providing service,
sugar, every single thing that people are going to buy. And if you do an analysis of Africa's billionaires, apart from the ones who can't be listed on Forbes or anywhere because they got their money from politics, you would notice that they are actually serving, if not the minerals, or they are actually serving the masses. They are selling, what people are buying daily. So this mentor told me and said, work out in Lagos every day. There are 20 million people. These 20 million people need to eat. They're going to brush their teeth. They're going to bathe with soap. They're going to, wear shoes. They're going to do all of that. And that represents the total addressable market. So rather than sitting down and saying, what has my neighbor launched? What is going on fine for them? Which is what people do. You sell pure water today, you make some money from it, and you're able to change your car. You give a testimony in church that you just changed your car. And the next question is, what work does he do? Oh, he sells pure water. That means pure water must be profitable. And so we look at what the other person is doing, and then we're going to launch a pure water business. So rather than doing that, and for those who don't know, we call sachet water pure water in Nigeria. So in case someone is watching us who doesn't know, so just help people in pure water.
And also just to chip in my 2 pence, because I've noticed that as Nigerians, we love to think so many things are peculiar to Nigerians. The scenario that Olushola has just given is not peculiar to Nigerians. I've witnessed it over here in the UK. The Caribbeans do it, the Asians do it, the white man does it. They see that something is booming, and the next minute they're in on your business. So it's not not a Nigerian factor.
Thank you, Deola, for that. So, I mean, aside from doing that, because that in itself can work in a space like software and technology, it works very well. But for every one of us who is trying to find the pathway to wealth or for new investment opportunities, we can make this my mentor's advice the baseline index to say, if I'm really looking for what's the new thing to launch, I must be able to find out the number of people in my city and what they will need to do as a matter of supreme necessity. Once we're able to identify those things, there's a chance that we can create critical business pathways right in the middle of it. I'm slightly guilty of this as well. Sometimes I look at what I feel passionate or feel strongly about rather than what can actually bring me wealth. I'll give you an example. I was working in Microsoft, getting fairly paid above like many of the equals, but I knew that my salary was predictable. And so a friend of mine was getting into government and they needed someone to advise them on how to set up an innovation center. And I went out of the way. My brother keeps referring to this up to today to emphasize how much on the streets that I am. And I suddenly became a chair supplier. What I did was that I went online, did a small market research about where the chairs, the fancy chairs in Lagos came from. Okay. And everybody I asked verbally just told me you needed to go to Lagos Island. I went to Lagos Island and found out they were selling each of those seats for about 3,000 naira because they just thought, and you could only get 5, 10 small quantities. Then I did further research to find out where those guys were bringing it from. In other words, researching their supply chain. And within their supply chain, I found out they were taking it straight from Eleganza, from the industry. So I placed my own order to the industry and I would get those chairs for 600 naira. Now, in a quote, they were selling it for 3,000. When I went to
even within Nigeria,
Ikeja Mall, they were selling it for 6,000 in Ikeja Mall. So you see how that value chain and reaching straight to the supplier who was going to deliver to my doorstep, they were taking it for 600 naira. So really quickly, I have no passion for chairs, so I can remind everybody, I'm not passionate about supplying chairs, but I was passionate about the money that was going to come from there. So there are so many of us who might be watching this today or might be listening to this, who the real thing that will bring us wealth might not actually be something we're really passionate about. Ask Aliko Dangote, he might not feel emotional about sugar or about salt, but he knows people need it and they block that hole. The company I run today called Coven Works actually is trying to fill the skills gap. So we're training people on data science and artificial intelligence. It's sort of a blue ocean.
Coven gaps. How do you spell that?
Coven, Coven Labs. Coven Labs.
Okay, all right.
Exactly. So, there is sort of a blue ocean, and skill development in Africa is another blue ocean, particularly if you can determine what sort of skills are in demand. And that's why organizations like Facebook ran after Andela when they started. And they started funding them. And these guys got maybe about $30 million in investments and grants. It's good to be able to separate both because grant money is sweet. It's not a password to spending money anyhow, but just knowing that you can do the things you're really passionate about is really beautiful. And you don't have to sit quarter per quarter with investors who are asking for, what the ROI is, because they are measured quarter per quarter. So skills gap. So when you're done with doing the baseline of food, clothing, and shelter, which are on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs as the baseline, when you're done with that analysis, when you're done exploring that industry, when you're done creating a small shoe line, because people must buy shoes, when you're done creating a small plantain chips business because people must buy snacks in Lagos traffic, when you're done exploring the cookie business because people who feel like they are too touche to eat plantain are going to eat cookies and some of the other things, when you're done exploring all of those, I want to tell you about the skills gap. The universities represent both a source of sadness and a source of joy. A source of sadness because as ivory towers, they're not doing what they're supposed to do, and every time I speak with my professor friends and all of that, even the ones I love from my heart, if I sit in their classroom, I have seen how, I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So some of them are still using lecture notes from like several years back. There is no quality control. The meetings are the HOD's meeting. The HOD The departmental meeting are just to discuss when they are going to do seminars and presentation and how many students need to contribute for Martina and all the things that they need to meet by. Those are the conversations. Oh, how do we get a new laboratory? How do we get, there are no conversations about quality control. And I'm saying this because I've been education lead at Microsoft. I led the education business for Microsoft, in Nigeria. So I know what it is from private to public universities, and I see how we are not paying as much attention as we're supposed to pay. Is it not sad to know that the Nigerian budget, at least as at my last check, only 7% was allocated to education? What kind of country is that? And this 7% is including the one that won't get to the school.
Because education is not
it's not a priority.
Nigeria. Yeah,
so
we don't need it.
Both.
Your president only needs to have an SSC or
to
rule.
So it represents both a source of sadness and also a source of joy for anybody who wants to explore that skills gap between when somebody graduates from school, because when they graduate from a regular, now anytime we want to talk about this, we can have exceptions. There are exceptions to the rule. I went to FUTA, and from year 2 in the university, we knew we were going nowhere. We knew if we graduated like this, we'll be bachelors of mediocrity, nothing more. There was nothing. We were studying computer science and we were learning with Fortran 77 in 2007. Fortran 1997 edition in 2007. Mark Zuckerberg had just created Facebook, and I heard the story. I was a tiny little motivational speaker on campus, and I heard the story of this 24-year-old who was creating, who made Facebook. And I asked myself, this guy studied computer science, got out of school in year 1, dropped out in year 1 to create Facebook. What can my Fortran do? So we started the Software Developers Research Initiative for Nigeria and started re-educating ourselves. We taught ourselves C#, we taught ourselves VB.NET, created a small group of people. Now, both of you were arguing who first knew Constant now. Now, this is about time. We had a small group. We needed all the inspiration that we could get. Everything we were doing didn't make sense to our lecturers. The day we went to present the organization to the dean of students, he said, how old are you guys? You are starting institutes. Do you even know what an institute is? And all of that. So we needed as much inspiration as we could get. And, Constant delivered. He gave us his house as our nest to learn, to train, to develop ourselves as college students.
Wow. Shola, if I could just ask, sorry to cut you short, how do you overcome those because that is an obstacle that a lot of young people will actually encounter, that where those of age or those before you just look at you like, what do you know? Who is this small person? You think it's the way they do it in America that they do it over here. What are some tips you can actually give our viewers and our listeners, overcoming that particular obstacle?
Thanks so much, Adiola. That's a very important question. Look, it starts from, so it's not all of us that have like the impetus or the drive, so because of our temperament and nature. So usually what I say is, if you are not on the extroverted side of things, you might want to pair up with people who have like that drive and that dream. I'll give you an example. The group I said we started, I and a few others were more on the talking side, so we were a little more extroverted. But I had specific people like, and I know, because I remember them, Tomiwa Ijawari, Wande Adebola, who were very smart, but they were introverts. And things like, oppositions like this will get to them more, because they're like, hey, I'm trying to make things better here. Why is this person, talking me down? So pairing up with people who you're going in the same direction, in case you're in the university and you're listening to this, or you are even in your career and you're facing this kind of thing, pairing up with people who are more extroverted, who are more, who are more vocal can help. Also, having this deep-seated knowing that talent is evenly distributed is very, very important. So even though I was in the backside of the desert in Akure, I was looking at Zuckerberg as a peer at the time. And I felt like, hey, if this guy, so what we did was we went to open MIT OpenCourseWare. When we opened MIT OpenCourseWare, we compared it with the curriculum that our lecturers were using to teach, and instantly we knew that they were leading us back to
nowhere. They're
unability.
leading you nowhere.
They were leading us nowhere. So
Yeah.
that sort of made us too. So yeah, I mean, I felt bad a little as well when that professor said, what do you know? You are starting an institute. But we didn't let that stop us. We went back again, organized our event. We now changed the name to Software Developers Research Initiative for Nigeria. We removed the institute, changed it to initiative, so they will let us register it on campus. Having that deep-seated knowing that talent is universal, the fact that somebody is well, I had the privilege as well, and I must mention this, that when I was 12 and 13, because my first voluntary experience, I was 9 years old. So I grew up in Modakeke in Osun State. There was crisis when I was like 7 years old.
Yeah.
So my dad was part of like the peacekeeping group, unofficial traditional peacekeeping group. They would go on to, he never carried a gun, but he would go on and go and pick up people from the crisis front, right? From the hotspot with his bike, and he will come back home. And then when UNICEF was trying to do a mediation group as a school teacher, they invited him as one of the people. So it was my first experience of seeing, being with a non-profit. And because my mother used to sell Christian Mirror from Deeper Life, I had read Ben Carson's Gifted Hands, like at the age of 7 or 8.
Wow.
So
Beautiful
because of
book.
that,
A beautiful,
I was
beautiful book.
slightly different. So I'm because now, before when I was doing my motivational gigs, I never used to mention this part of things because I couldn't trace the dots backward. Instead, I'll talk about myself as being special, as being this, as being that. But after reading Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers, I realized that nobody is really special. It's what you had the chance to experience at a young age that
Your
perhaps.
exposure.
So I volunteered at the age of 9 for Society for Women and AIDS in Africa as my first volunteering experience in JSS1. So getting on, I learned about the word self-esteem at a really young age, decision making at a young age. So it sort of gave me an edge when I had those oppositions. So I think all of those things in early stage childhood development is really, really fundamental. And even though I grew up in a rural community, I still had the chance to be able to learn this from my teacher dad and my medical records officer mom. So I think that contributed to it. So
just to before you continue your story, I just want to contribute and just
by all means
re-echo what you just said. I think I always say it, and most people don't. I don't think they get what I'm saying about orientation. That's the problem we have in Nigeria, or should I say Africa as a whole. In Nigeria, our orientation is really what we need to work on. We need to reorientate ourselves. Like, look at you from a young age. You've been exposed to books. You've been exposed to things that change your mentality about who you are, about what you can do. And there's nothing I can see in the comment section from Olarinwaju Emilola saying that deep, sir. There's nothing as deep as that. If you can expose yourself to learn beyond your physical location right now, expose yourself. And that's the problem we have as Nigerians. I recently just got to, I've not been in America for so long. And I talk to a lot of my coworkers and I speak with a lot of people, and they will be like, oh, they compare me to other Nigerians. They'll be like, how long have you been here, man? You look like you've been here for a long time. And I'll be like, no, these guys have been here longer than I've been here, but I've been exposed to so much about America, about the countries, even before I left Nigeria. I've been exposed from a young age. I've met white people from a young age. My grandpa too exposed me to a lot of his business partners from all over. So I have been exposed so much, and that's the thing I always tell people, that orientation. If you are not getting the right orientation from young, and it is not left to your school. It is not left to your family to teach you and reorientate you. You as an individual need to just make a decision yourself that I want to know more. And that's the problem I see with Nigeria. A few people want to know
So,
more. A few people want to
so
go deeper. When I was learning how to use the internet back then in Nigeria, back then was just sending emails and stuff. I spoke with my, I got the job I just started. I just started a job just a year ago, and during my interview, I spoke about it, and they all were laughing about it. And I told them, they were like, I had to do a presentation. I told them in the presentation that, oh, that when I started using the internet back in Africa, then all we used it for was to send emails, and it was dial up. When you would dial and you have to quickly send your email on
yeah.
time and send your email on time.
Mm-hmm.
That was just the surface level. So we'll go into Microsoft Word, we'll type our emails already, dial up
Copy.
that,
Mm-hmm.
dial up real quick, copy and paste your email and send the email. And that was it. Then I felt I'm an internet guru. I know how to manipulate this thing and quickly send my emails and stuff. Until I met a guy that told me that you guys are still using the surface of internet. You've not even gone to the back end of internet. There's something that is controlling this your email that you don't even know about. And that got me thinking that, wait, what's this guy talking about? I can chat now. I'm on Yahoo Messenger, AOL Messenger. I have all these things, and you're telling me that I'm not a guru yet. So that got me thinking that, wait, what else is there beyond this part? That's why we see all these young. I see all these young people. I just laugh at them. You are doing Yahoo Messenger. You are chatting on Instagram, and you are you feel you've arrived already. No, there is more beyond the surface level, and that is what I always keep trying to tell people. That see, it's even right now. You're talking about Mark Zuckerberg and all that. Personally, from childhood, that has enlightened me to like, I want to know more. Mark Zuckerberg, that is really, I'm sure this guy is beyond Facebook for him. It's
So,
beyond Facebook. It's beyond this, and that's the mentality I want every Nigerian, everyone to have. We need to start
but
with the man.
how do we drive that mentality? I mean, I and Shola can really relate to this because of, I remember when I told Shola and the group, like, I want you guys to come and establish in Ondo State. All of them said no. They ran to Lagos. And I kept telling them, I said, see, Lagos is saturated already. For me, I
Mm,
don't even like Lagos for any kind of business.
mm.
It's already saturated. Then you have you're more cost effective when you're in Ondo State.
The
And
rural areas.
because in any of the rural areas. And the thing is, we could get internet access, to these areas and try to manage, solar. We used to have inverter at the house. We have, we're working on trying to get solar. We're looking at, there was somebody who was working on a project to use sewage to produce electricity and all of that. So the hub was open to innovations and, people trying to bring in ideas on what we can do. What we didn't have was funding. And I keep telling everybody that, hey, funding will be the last thing, as
Yeah,
long as you have something you're selling,
yeah.
people will put in, they put in money, or whatever
That's
resources you
that's that's
need.
that's where I was trying to get to about this all my long story. Like,
Yeah.
someone
But
told me that you don't, you're always complaining about it's just to merge it with the question that Diola asked about how did you overcome all this. See, the number one thing is you need to have something that you want someone to invest in. If you
but
don't
I
have it,
think I
if you
think
don't harness
mentorship
it,
is our problem too.
yeah,
Or
okay,
what do you
mentorship is a
it-
problem, but I'm not
yeah.
going to mentor you if you don't have anything that you
Okay.
are doing presently.
Okay, the thing is that we have a lot of smart people. The society, the environment they grew up in or they are currently in is discouraging, it's disappointing. They've tried to.
There's
You,
disappointment
Yes.
everywhere.
yeah, I know people that have tried to do a lot of research, trying to bring in things to the table and all of that. And there is nobody to encourage them.
Hmm.
It takes some tenacity. How do you get this thing? It takes level of exposure. When you have your internet access and or maybe you're in some rural area and all you could do is 30 minutes of quickly chatting with your friend, you won't even think about doing some research. Your
Mm-hmm.
research is based on the old books that you have in the library. Like Shola was saying, that till today they
That's
still
true.
teach people Fortran. They still teach people basics, basic coding, basic language, or whatever, in coding. But this can't get you anywhere. So you need somebody to look up to. You you need somebody who is making it in the line, who comes in and say it's possible. Then you can start asking, oh, okay, how can I get there? What do I need to study? So, and I think these are the things we need to put in the space out. Like those are the things that Shola they're doing right now, trying to train people, get some licenses from like Amazon, Microsoft, and all this stuff, and take it back home. These
Mm-hmm.
people ordinarily won't have access to it. And that's my take about Lagos, Abuja, and when everybody wants to move to Lagos, and when you get to Lagos, somebody is probably going to point you out to, oh, go do this certification, go do this thing. So it's only when you have access to all those things in the rural environment where people who are smart can use their smartness to create something. I heard about this guy. I've even seen his videos on YouTube that creates a drone in Nigeria. His drone also uses gas, and it can fly longer than any of the drones that I've seen around here. I started putting camera. This guy never went to any college. He was doing research. He loves aeroplane when they fly past, and he was doing his own research. And I don't know where that guy is today in Nigeria. You know,
Mm.
those are the encouragement we need to, give to people.
I
How do
mean,
we identify people? How do we
Africa,
give them
Africa,
encouragement?
Africa or Nigeria is a very fertile ground. Nigeria is a very fertile ground to grow your business, and I'm very happy that Shola is talking about all this. But I'm very happy that Shola and you, Constant, are talking about this. But I'm very big on orientation. Like personally, I am always rooting for Nigeria. I'm rooting for Africa. I I grew up in Nigeria. I hustled for a lot of things myself. I have like Shola was saying, I have a couple of friends that we were doing a lot of media things in the media on the background by ourselves. We shot movies with our phones back then. We will also to buy camera and we do things back and forth all by ourselves. No mentorship and everything. I was even lucky to get a scholarship from British Council. To they had a conference or a training for some of us where we were trained by Pan African University about. I'm happy sure I even mentioned that about talent, and they trained us about talent. Talent's not being enough. Talent is not enough, and all this we're just from hustling and doing our own thing. So it's pretty much we need people. Number one, reorientation is very vital. I like this comment. That's the number one thing I think Africans need or Nigerians need. You need to know that, believe in yourself, and have something that you want someone to mentor you on. There are a lot of mentors. I know for a fact, just like us in this place right now, we are looking for. You can't tell me that you want to go back to Nigeria to do a business, but you need people that can run the business for you. Like on the Nigerian space right now, thank God for where we are. We have a Nigerian running our social media handle. We met this guy from the social media space. We met him because he was doing something that we knew that okay, we can work with this guy on. So those are the things I'm saying. Like, first, you need to reorientate yourself to know that okay, I am beyond Nigeria, I am beyond Lagos, I am beyond Osun State. I want to
Let
know
me
this.
let me ask Shola, because he's been in that space. How can we reorientate our people? How can we help them to think outside of the box?
Yeah. So, the whole concept of orientation itself and the way we use it, it means something to someone and something else to other people. And I always try to say that it is one of the things that once you say reorientation, it seems like we'll start passing the blame game or the blame ball all around. So I like to address or attack it from the standpoint of individual responsibility. I feel that exposure a mentor of mine used to say that exposure is the mother of excellence. What you don't know is possible. Many times you can't go beyond it. The fact that you haven't seen the world, and seeing the world doesn't mean traveling, it just means it could be by reading, it could be by, I had not met Ben Carson, but I'd met him. I had not met Stephen Covey, but I'd met him. I had not met Malcolm Gladwell, but I'd met them through those books. So the one side of it is to say, for anybody who can interpret and who can accept that, first of all, you are responsible for your own education. And the internet offers 1 billion pages of information for anyone who cares to watch, who will prioritize cramming all of the lyrics of Davido and Wizkid, and deprioritize that and prioritize, searching out content that will benefit their lives. But again, moving to America or understanding the West a little made me to see that this thing we just said now is not as simple as that. It's really not as simple as asking somebody to liberate themselves. There are people who can't even understand this thing we're saying because by themselves, they can't move an inch by themselves. And it's not because they don't want to. It's because they're incapacitated. It could either be from their background, it could be from their personal temperament, it could be from their way. Those are the people that need, those people that Mr. Kosan was just talking about right now. The ones who need additional drive from someone who feels they've gotten there, or at least are still on the journey, but feel accomplished and are willing to give some of their time, like he did, to support those other people, so that those who don't have the drive naturally will not be left behind completely. So the reorientation work needs to be done by individuals, groups, educational institutions, the government through its National Orientation Agency, which isn't doing much, the Ministry of Education.
That's a joke.
It's a global work. So when I started and I had the work of, my work when I moved back to Akure was to teach the 4 years I had been in Microsoft. Because if you work in corporate, in the real corporate, not the Nigerian companies that, and I'm not saying this to shade anybody, I'm just saying there are many Nigerian companies that they are not corporate, they are just companies, they are business centers. You don't learn anything. When Joel Ogunshola, who is one of Constance prodigy as well, and is a friend of mine, were like peers, when Joel went to do an internship at Microsoft, I was still working in the university serving. When he came back 6 months after, and I heard what was coming out of this guy's mouth after working 6 months in Microsoft. So it goes like, so the market share and the market value is this, and you need to do deep.
You'll be like, what is that?
So 6 months I did that. So for example, Joel has gone on to do amazing stuff now. So I'm not even bothered. He knows I can joke about this. So after 6 months, all that happened. So after 4 years that I've been in Microsoft, it felt like 10 years of working in corporate. I'd won international awards, flown like a bird, gone to Paris, Turkey, everywhere, winning awards and all of that. So I said, look, the work of exposing the people from where I come from the same place where I was taken out of, that paying it forward that he did for us, where we had a space, it was his living room. We turned to with inverters. You would think it's a data center. There was never power interruption. There was internet access, and he paid for that every month. Not only did he pay for that, he also paid for food because he hired a cook that should be cooking for us. We were students, so we were enjoying it.
But you guys, that's the thing. I like that because you guys had something to offer him. You had something to offer.
No, but I think Shuf, I think one of the things, those are one of the things that, again, it's about reorientation and changing our mindset. If we keep on being of that mindset of we're only going to go after people who have something to offer, then we're also, like I think Olushola mentioned, some people really do need that extra drive. Some people have something to offer, but you might not see it based on their temperament. So if you're only a shark, just looking to pick the best of the best, we're not going to grow. We're just going to be like the Nigerian politicians that are still there.
That's trying to push you.
But that's the thing. We have to pay it forward. Just like Olushola said, you have to pay it forward.
To someone
but you're ready to pay it forward only if your pockets only able to be profitable to your pocket. And
No,
again, that is the Nigerian mentality that we
not
have.
profitable, not really
It's
profitable.
profitable because if you're saying something someone has to offer, then you mean that
No,
you
I
are
see you
giving
are
something to
hustling.
gain
I see that
something.
you're hustling and you're working, and I said, this guy needs some support. And you
Mhm.
have something that you're working on.
Mhm.
Like they were working on something. They had an association they had before
Yeah.
Constant decided to invest in them. Yeah, I would do
Yeah.
that because
No,
see
but
that you're working.
I feel like where we need to have a bit of reorientation, not everybody would do it. There are business angels and there are business nobles, and there are just certain people that are just in it just for the hustle. I think where we again we need to change that reorientation of always just looking for where to take, because the same way you are looking for people who have something to offer that to gravitate towards you. There are some people that have something to offer who are looking for someone to gravitate
But how
towards.
am I going to know you have something to offer?
So
By
let's
just
ask
talking to you?
let's ask Constant this question. What was it all of us that you saw that you could see that this guy is going somewhere? Was it all of, because there were
But
some
you
of
had
us
an
that,
association now,
some of us that
didn't
were
you?
vocal. What maybe you should tell us now, like in 7 years,
Well,
this was 5 years ago. Did you see it in all of us, or did you just feel like
one second. I think we've lost Constant. So hold on to that question. I'll go through the comments, and hopefully Constant will be with us in a second. So thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks for the comments. Please continue commenting, throw in your questions. As you can see, Olushola and Constant, they are ready and willing to give you the answers and the information. We have a comment here from the Nigerian space. I'm sorry, from the Afro Gamer. The orientation is very vital. Very low percentage of Nigerian youths are thinking outside the box. Majority are jumping on bandwagon opportunities. And Afro Gamer also says, for example, makeup artists, small scale catering. There is so much opportunities. For example, agriculture, fintech, gaming, and esports. Dr. Wale says, hi, everyone. Hi, Dr. Wale. Thanks for joining us. And the Afro Gamer again is talking about opportunities. If your idea or business plan requires an investor or huge funding, how can the Nigerian youth go about it? I'll leave that last question for the for the Nigerian space and Constant or Olushola to answer. But I just wanted to talk about the Afro Gamers comment. Again, what we are seeing is we are human beings. Humans gravitate towards where there is success already. Not everybody will be able to think outside the box. And in somewhere like Nigeria, where people are frustrating your efforts left, right, and center, it's easy to just jump on the bandwagon. Like, okay, I know that this person is a makeup artist. I know they are making money. So that means I can also do it. So again, that reorientation needs to be there. But at the same time, I can't really knock anybody that jumps onto the bandwagon because it's not easy. It's not easy to have that fresh idea and you literally know no one. I mean, we are very fortunate in terms of being Nigerians and making it out of Nigeria into saner climates to get that information to take back home. But there are some people that they really see no way out at all. So while I understand Shup's point about, if you have something to offer, that's when I can look and pick you. There are people who are literally, they are there. They are just there waiting for people to gravitate towards them. That, okay, yes, even just come towards me. Let me hear what you have to say. So I think in a way we do need to reorientate ourselves. It's something that I've been thinking about for a long time as well. Just in terms of just being that business angel that someone can gravitate towards, that they can even bring the
We
idea
are all
to you.
angels. We are all business
So
angels.
We are not.
let me quickly answer Shola's question.
Yes, Constant, answer our question.
So when they were, doing that, really nice tussle, I said, maybe you are the one who should tell us. Did you see it in any one of us? Like now, looking back in retrospect, myself, Joel, Tomiwa, these are people. One day was with Andela and then with InterSwitch at a point. Tomiwa is with McKinsey, digital and all of that. And we were just like random students then. So did you like see it in us, or were there some of us who just took a chance on?
So I took a chance on all of you. You understand? All of you. And I'll tell you this. And let me quickly say this so I don't take up time. So when I was leaving college, I didn't know what I was going to do. I studied public administration not because I wanted public administration. Initially, I was going for computer science and all of that, but something happened and I went into public administration just because I didn't want to go back home. But every time I had opportunity, then I'll go to a Fortran class, a COBOL class, a Basic class, and then internet access came to Ilorin at that time. And one of my friends who was serving happened to be running a lab. So he opened my first email account, my Yahoo account for me. So I will go there and do the browsing, and the Netscape will be going like this, and you'll be dancing, and but I got used to the IT side of things. So I will leave my lectures to go learn IT. Then my transport fare, I'd rather walk the street of Ilorin. I will buy corn and be eating my, on the street. It's like just like I have to cut costs so that I can attend my classes and also, do this. So when I was leaving, I was a bit out of, I don't know what to do. So I started finding out the best IT firms in Nigeria. So, and it happened that I found out about Resourcery. They're owned by the Fafunwas kids, and these people studied abroad, and the company is run like a Western company. And by the time I got there, I was like, I studied public administration. They don't need study public administration people. They need people in IT. But I kept going to that place every day. And I met the secretary. I said, please, if there's any opportunity, even if it's for me to be carrying bags for these guys, I want to do it. So I happened to walk in one time when the telecoms came in. MTN walked into this company and said, we heard you're the best. We were giving you this thing, but we have timelines. So they needed to employ more people. I was meant to be serving. So
You
I
had
got
something. They saw something in you, and they
the,
took you. That's what I'm
bro,
saying.
the thing is that I love IT and I want to get in at any time. And I was in Lagos. The opportunities are in Lagos. Opportunities are in Abuja, Port Harcourt, because you have these companies. There are people who has never heard it. There are people who has never heard of these companies we're talking about. Some people still don't know that Microsoft or Google are in Nigeria. I had opportunity because I was hungry. At the same time, it's not just being hungry, it's because the people around you could help you. Like my friend who is serving ahead of me,
It goes
who
it
is
goes beyond. I think it goes beyond just being hungry and expecting that someone will come
exactly
talk to you.
your
You need to be
your
out there.
circle. I was privileged to be among people who like who understand IT. And somebody went before I got into resourcery. Somebody told me, oh, there's a guy in First Stack who is trying to set up his cyber cafe. But because I've been able to do this with my friend in Ilorin, I ran the cafe in First Stack for a period of time, and the guy really liked me. But I was more hungrier than running a cafe. I want an IT environment. When InterSwitch came in, they picked a couple of my friends, who one of them is the CIO right now of InterSwitch. But he started when they started coding, and I went into resourcery, and that's where I started learning. Then the people around me, the society I was in, and the mentors that I picked. Like Shola said, you don't need to meet people one on one. There are people that have spoken into my life that till today I've not been able to meet them one on one. Then I was going to a particular church. Then the pastor will organize business meetings for young people, for young guys, and I hear people who were on the street of Lagos sleeping in Falomo shopping complex for a couple of months and years, and they later became oil mogul when the likes of Otedola left, dropping cans and jerry cans in people's homes and started doing the big one. They took over those small businesses. I've seen someone who was a graduate and going to look for a job and realized the way they were treating the garbage boys. And he called the garbage boys together. He said, you know what? I have a company and I want you guys to work with me. This guy never had a company. He just thought about it on the spot. He went to register his company. He went to print out his cards and started going to the big men's houses and say, hey, here's my card. We'll be coming in to pick on Monday, on Thursday, on Tuesday. And he organized those boys. He didn't have a truck. They would carry their omolanke and follow him. And after a while, he bought a truck. Before you know it, he has a garbage company. But the thing is,
Corporate hustler. I
exactly,
used to know a guy, corporate. It's not
you know, so
corporate something, corporate Nile or corporate something.
exactly. So when
I
I
used to
was
know
in,
some guy there.
when I go back to Ondo State, I needed people like them, Shola, because I know there are a lot of people who are smart who just need exposure and access. And at that time, we were planning the Ondo State Youth Economic Summit. These guys walked into my office, and for people that have been with me, even when I was running my IT firm, I don't care which school you're coming from. I want to know how hungry you are and how bad you want to change your life.
Exactly.
That's the basis on which I recruit people. So when
Yeah.
them Tola came in, I could see the hunger. I could see that all they needed is just exposure, people to encourage them and all of that, which their lecturers and were not doing at that time. I remember one of you guys, Shola, them they needed to take some sport car to Germany for a presentation, and already the airline already gave them access. The school just needed to give them like 2 million naira. You understand? And that thing
That's a
was,
lot of money for the school.
but bro, these are the money some people are using in Cubana and somewhere, to drink at
Yeah.
one night. So
Yeah.
I am not that kind of person. I want to see a lot of people make it in life. I want to see these people have opportunity and pay it forward again to people. So that's why I said, oh, after the Youth Economic Summit, we're going to start this hub. You remember Tayo, I call Whiskey. Tayo walked up to me and like, oh, and he studied computer science in school. I said, see, I don't need an engineer. I need a software engineer who can develop website and other products right now. The guy said, I have not done it before, but I will do it, sir. That's all I needed. He went home like in the middle of the night, like one he just sir, I have a sample. I know you'll be sleeping. I said, I'm not sleeping. Send me the sample. He sent me the sample. I looked at it. It was not the best, but I said, come see me at work tomorrow. And I told him, I said, see, I'm not working like a civil servant. This office, we come in early, we close late. But I'll make sure that you're eating and you get all the resources. And I gave them all the resources they needed for the office to work and everything from my pocket, from my salary, because I can't wait for government to start giving me money to run that office. I know they would delay, and which they eventually did.
So
But
I think with the foundation has been laid. Sorry,
yes.
Diola, we have laid the foundation. We need
No,
to
I
have
think I
fun.
think I think Constant is more on my own side of the argument.
Yes, because
Constant
the thing
saw
is
the
that
hunger. He
yeah,
didn't see what they had
you
because I think
Hey,
sometimes you just have
that's
to
all
see
I
the
not
want
hunger.
too now.
No,
not
you said do
everybody.
something to offer. No, you said
No,
No, no,
something
no,
to
no, no, no,
offer.
not
no. That's the
everybody
hunger.
knows what they have to offer, bro.
Hunger is what I mean by
Not
something.
everybody understand that.
No, no, don't backtrack. Oh.
No, 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 no,
Eh,
no,
The
no,
younger
no. Not everybody have that.
people,
You
you might
know,
not see that.
you don't even know until somebody point out to you that you have this gift. Can we
exactly.
harness this
At
gift?
least you
Can we?
want to do something. That's all I
Yeah,
want. I
but
just
yes,
want.
yes, they have the. Some people don't even see. Some people retire because they are tired of trying. They're tired of people talking them down. And all those things we're talking about is not just about your school. It's not just about your environment. It depends on the family you grew up with. You remember that when you want to talk sometimes as a kid, where elderly people are, they say, "Shut up! What are you? What do you know? What are you talking
Yeah.
about?"
Mhm,
That
mhm,
thing alone can shut down the brain of a kid.
Yeah.
mhm.
True. True.
And people around you, like when you tell them, oh, I want to do this thing, and they say, come on, shut up, man. How many people have you seen that succeeded in this? You understand?
That's
But
what
the
I'm
Yeah.
thing
trying
is,
to say.
being hungry, being wanting it is, when I saw them, Shola, I was so happy to have them around me, and I see that these
Let-
people are going somewhere, and we have the access. We got the Microsoft people to come, we got the Google people. Shola, we did the mapping, the Google mapping of Akure with the support of Google, Midori, and a lot of spots, on those states and all of that. And seriously, I don't think there's anybody in that group that is not doing extremely well
good, good,
right
good.
now. You
That's a
know,
nice
So
one.
we're running out of time, and
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on time
we
also.
know Shola still has a lot to. Mr. Shola still has a lot to do.
yeah,
Seriously, my notes, all some of the things I needed to say about career opportunities that people
Yeah.
from here who are in diaspora need to go and take advantage of, even back in Nigeria. There are lots of career
So
opportunities
we'll give you the
open.
ground.
We need to have Olushola back on. We need to continue this conversation. We've allowed time get the best of us, but I'm sure you've been able to pick one or two things. I'm going to go around and ask for everyone's closing comments just so we can finish in time. For me, what I've been able to pick today, in terms of career opportunities, business opportunities back home and even abroad, do your market research. see where there is a gap in the market, gravitate towards mentors and like-minded people. That's what I have picked from today, and I hope everyone has picked that as well. That's my closing comment for today.
All right, from me, I don't really have much to say. Than there's a quote that I heard from an Indian man in Nigeria. He said, "There's money all over the floor in Nigeria, but
Yep,
we are
they
too
say
proud
it a
to pick
lot.
it up."
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. There's money everywhere. But I want to give some of my time to. I think Shola still has. If you can round up with some of my times, please give us some nuggets
Mm-hmm.
about investing over here
Yeah,
and all.
You can
actually,
go ahead and use my time too.
Yeah,
like
it's actually.
Sweet.
it's like it's a two-way thing. So there must be people who are ready to take a chance on other people who are actively doing that, paying it forward. Like, and even all of the four of us on this call right now, if we don't have any particular initiative or program that is actively taking chances on people, like we're actually not giving it forward. We've had the privilege in life, or we are having the privilege in life. We must find a way, to be paying it forward. I don't like to talk about my philanthropic work, but every now and then there's a primary school I used to drive that I used to walk past as a child. And now it's been 30 something years. They've never plastered it. I used to work there as a 5 year, 6 year old. This year's birthday, I asked the teacher and said, I'm going to plaster the wall. If you see how, you would think it's our own home, how excited she was to hear that somebody was going to plaster it. And I've adopted that school. I'm going to give them a basketball court, give them everything that they can have as God helps me. So, and that is just one out of like a couple of things I do. So we must be actively taking chance on people. And also for the young people who are hearing us here, I see some of them commenting. Some of them are my students too. They are commenting and like, Mr. Shola, take a chance on me as well. I'm actively taking a chance. I took all of the money I was supposed to use to relocate in 2017 to set up a hub in Akure. I had the chance to do it in Lagos. My wife and I agreed that we'll set it up in Akure, and it's been 3 years now. It has helped several people who have now gone on to become employees at Cars 45, at different companies, even at Duns and Bradstreet in the US. So I'm really excited about that, and we keep giving it back. There's also an announcement we'll be making in about a month. We're investing in a university, and we're setting up a lab within that university. So we keep doing those kind of things, and I wish I wouldn't want to cramp up some of the ideas I have around how diasporans can really go and make real unique impact back home on this one session. And I'm hoping there will be a time that we're able to do that, because there is a way to do it and enjoy it. There's another way to do it, and you'll be back in America or the UK 5 years later, and you'll be like, why did I even do this? So I really look forward to that. Every
Yeah.
time I was still at Constance house yesterday, every time we sit together, it blows my mind with like 1,000 new ways that we can get stuff done. We must remember that we have this unique opportunity, the blessing that God has given us to even have the clarity to be having these conversations is humongous, is huge, and we will not take it for granted. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much, Olushola, for that. We have to have you back on. I'm sure all your points you weren't able to cover them. We'll talk anyway and see when's convenient for you, and
Thanks
would
for giving me
communicate that to
your
our viewers.
yeah.
No problem at all. We have a couple of comments here. We can just get them on the screen. I won't have enough time to go through them, but if I can just have them up on the screen, it's just left for me to say, please make sure for everyone who's joining us for the first time, please make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss upcoming episodes. We always have information that we're happy to share with you. We're not information hoarders at all. Constant mentioned that we want to see everybody win. I mentioned it last week. I said all lives cannot matter until Black Lives Matter. And if us as Africans are not moving forward, all lives can never matter. We'll definitely have Olushola back on one of these days. Follow all our social media handles. Join us next week for an interesting episode. And thank you so much for joining us. See you again soon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.